Hi everyone, and welcome to part 2 of the Malawi series, where I'm back with James and Clare, and I hope you enjoyed the episode last session where we discussed all the activities and the work and the local population that James and Clare were working with when they did voluntary work in a hospital in Malawi. So today I want to focus more on you and your own health, and I know we did touch on your needle stick injury last time, but let's kind of talk about you and how you prepared for your trip, thinking about your own personal healthcare. So how did you go about preparing for it? Did you go and see your GP or a travel health professional, or did you feel like you knew it all yourself?
I did a bit of research before as to what kind of vaccinations I might need, and from travelling previously, I'd already had some, so I just wanted to see how within date they were.
Right.
And I basically just booked in with a travel nurse at my GP clinic, and It was really straightforward.
Right. And you got good advice?
I felt I got very good advice. I went in being a little bit informed, thinking about what I might need, and I was informed about what things I would need. I thought it was really useful.
Okay, excellent. Right.
I'd already done a bit of groundwork at the Liverpool School of Tropical Medicine as I was preparing for the trip. So I had an idea of what I needed.
Yeah.
And I think I got very scared into getting the rabies vaccination.
Good.
Yeah.
We like that, don't we?
And actually we saw quite a lot of rabies, and it's a very hidden disease, I think. So it's probably worth looking into if you are
going anywhere where it's endemic. Yeah.
Dogs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Dogs are, especially in an urban environment, every sort of compound, secure house setting in Malawi will have a couple of dogs.
Yeah. So, and you both got rabies vaccines?
Both got rabies vaccines.
Yeah, excellent. And didn't get bitten?
No. Should we get a nip from a puppy, perhaps?
But no. The risk was also...
We'll not go into did you go and get your post-exposure treatment following that little nip from the puppy?
It's also from monkeys as well, isn't it? Monkeys and bats.
Any mammals, Okay.
All potentials.
And then obviously you're already covered for Hep B for your trip. You were probably covered for diphtheria, tetanus, polio, MMR, BCGs. And your hepatitis A and your typhoid, etc.
Yes.
Yep. So you got your vaccines that you thought you were at risk of. Excellent. And so apart from, obviously we would look at what you were doing in your healthcare work as having increased risks of some diseases. A lot of those, and it sounds like you were covered for things. Did you feel like you needed to take any extra precautions based on the type of work you were doing?
I think we were very aware of needle stick injuries as a potential issue, and having access to post-exposure prophylaxis for HIV was a concern.
And was there an option of taking packs of stuff with you from here before you went?
Yeah. You can buy that. It's an option. When you go to your GP, they can prescribe it, and you can buy it. I don't think it's not covered on the NHS because you're
sure.
like everything else.
But instead, you kind of looked at the option of checking whether you could have sourced it when you were out
That's
there.
right.
Correct. You did. Yeah. Excellent. Okay.
Because these packs, you might not ever need to use them, and then it's quite expensive. So if you've got the possibility of having access to a pack and then paying for it if you need it, it's probably better than taking it on the off chance.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I know that Malawi itself is not a yellow fever risk area, but I believe you went on a bit of a travelling adventure afterwards. Tell us a bit about that anyway. So where did you go on your trip?
We only went to Zambia and Zimbabwe, which were Zambia neighbours Malawi, and Zimbabwe is just south of Zambia. And neither of them are high-risk yellow fever countries.
That's right, yeah.
But as it happens with many of these countries in sub-Saharan Africa, there is a high level of corruption, and border officials will try and swindle you out of any cash that you might have.
Yeah.
So we'd heard stories of other people who went on holiday in the area coming back into Malawi and being asked for a yellow fever certificate, even though they didn't go to a yellow fever country.
Right.
So that was a concern for us before we went on our journey.
But you didn't actually get asked to show a certificate when coming back into Malawi, is that right?
We did not, no.
But you'd heard stories that people were able to acquire certificates.
That's right. Yeah, at the private hospital
without having the vaccine.
Yeah, yeah. So you can buy your certificate with the intention of going back to the clinic for the vaccination, but you could actually just pay for the certificate, not the vaccination itself, which is a fraudulent sign, that you had the vaccine.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yellow fever. So because Malawi isn't a yellow fever risk country, we didn't go with yellow fever vaccination.
Right. Yeah. Which is correct advice. Yeah. Although probably when you decided where you were going to travel afterwards, had you planned where that was going to be, or did that just kind of happen?
It kind of happened.
Yeah. So it might have been advisable maybe to get yellow fever in terms of giving you a bit more freedom as to which countries you could go to.
So that's a consideration for people wanting to do the same.
Yeah.
But yellow fever vaccine is available there.
Right.
But the way it worked for us was that the vaccine was drawn from a multi-dose vial,
right?
Which meant that you'd have to wait for 10 people to make it worthwhile.
Yeah.
Breaking into one vial. So the time it takes for the vaccine schedule, you have to consider that quite early on.
Yeah, and that happened as well in the UK during the shortage of yellow fever. I think it was a couple of years ago. So we had the same thing where we had to get people into groups of 10 to be booked in.
Yeah,
so that's very interesting. So this story, this adventure you went on for, it was a month of travelling. So which kind of travel health related risks did you come across while you were on that trip?
Water is always a big issue, and it's access to clean, fresh water. And whilst we went out to Malawi with a water purification pump, and it was really good. You have a canister, and then you attach this canister to a standard long life water bottle,
right.
And then it's got a connecting tube, and then you pump the water, and you can pump it fresh every day, and then it's clean. You don't need to use iodine tablets, you don't need to boil it.
Wow.
Keeps you fit.
Yeah, does it? Yeah, a lot of work. And is it heavy to carry? No,
it's tiny. It's tiny.
It's a little bit bulky. I think if you were going to on a camping trip or something, you might want to consider taking iodine or chlorine tabs instead, because it's just a lot more portable.
Sure. And I know they can get bottles available as well, where you fill them up and shake them and leave them for 3 minutes. How many mils of water could that do at one go?
It's gallons and gallons.
You just filter it, and you filter it into a litre bottle, and then we just decanted it into bigger,
do lots at one time,
like 6-8 litre bottles, and then stored it up for a couple of days. Maybe.
I think we had 3. Did we take 2 or 3 filters?
2 or 3 canisters for
replacement
canisters.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
And what else did you get up to on that trip?
We travelled in our friend's Land Rover, the 4 of us, and we journeyed from Malawi, out from the south Malawi, into Zambia. Into Zambia. Went to Victoria Falls. So Victoria Falls borders between Zimbabwe and Zambia, so you can go to both sides.
Yeah, incredible.
We camped a lot of it, didn't we? And thinking back, you've got lots of considerations when you're camping in a tropical environment like that.
Various animal and insect related things.
Biting, you got venomous animals that you have to be aware of, how you keep your shoes and other baggage.
Yeah.
You don't want to stand on a
scorpion or snakes and things. And is that something you'd done much research about? Did you know much about snakes? Did you know techniques for avoiding scorpions and snakes or anything like that?
Yeah, we covered that a little bit again on the deployment that I studied, but we also did a bit of extra reading. And Thankfully the ants weren't particularly venomous, but they're a very painful nuisance if you get across a pack of ants.
Right. And what about what food were you eating while you were doing the camping in the slightly more remote areas?
It's still just there's so much fresh local produce there, so we just, as long as you cook it, wash it properly in clean water, cook it through. We ate really well in Malawi, really well.
So was your friend driving the truck, and how were the roads?
Mostly, they weren't too bad, really.
The difference between Malawi,
considering
we crossed out of Malawi and the difference was huge into Zambia.
Yeah.
Suddenly there was tarmac, pavements, street lights, and people wearing shoes.
So you consider,
it's huge.
Yeah, Blantyre would, you'd have access to a South African supermarket chain, so you can get a lot of things.
Yeah,
you pay a premium. We're vegetarian, so we avoid sort of the meat and the risks of eating dodgy meat.
And how easy was that in those countries?
Meat's a luxury. Meat's a luxury anyway, so it's very easy to get vegetarian food.
And as I say, it's just warm tropical climate. Vegetables grow brilliantly.
Yeah.
You can manage quite well with fresh lentils.
But moving from that into Zambia, you had a cash machine. The first place we stopped.
Right.
Cash machine. Right on the side of the road.
Excellent.
Tarmac.
Yeah.
But generally, the roads, the main roads, the issue was potholes, and road safety is a huge issue. When we were working in the hospital, we saw a huge amount of road traffic accidents.
Right.
That attended.
Driving at night's a particular risk. People often drove with full beam, so it's just terrible for visibility. You wouldn't see anything because there were no street lights.
Sure.
And then they drive behind you and then in front of you with full beam, and then you're blinded. So
and you can't see the edge of the road. It's just tarmac and then dirt. There's no edge to the road.
Yeah.
You can't people walk on the road at night.
Yeah.
It's dangerous to drive at night.
Dogs, animals on the road. Yeah.
Right. Huge risk.
Yeah. So it's definitely advisable to plan around the day and the weather. Well, we had a bad driving experience, didn't we, in a tiny car with in pouring rain in
the dark,
middle of the night in a strange country. It's not advisable.
Not advisable,
no.
Right. So, and what about you protected yourself from malaria the whole time you're out there by either taking tablets and avoiding insect bites, I hope?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And do you know which tablets you were taking?
We took doxycycline.
Yeah, both of us did.
Worked fine for you?
Yeah, and he has a theoretical risk of covering for other diseases.
That's right, yeah.
So
indeed.
It's quite a bit of a double whammy.
Doubles up, excellent.
Yeah.
And you used an insect repellent and slept under mosquito nets?
Yeah.
Things like that?
Yeah, always slept under a mosquito net. You'd notice the difference if you didn't. It was... You would sleep under a mosquito net.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So the mosquito net, we took one out with us, but we never actually used it, did we?
No. It was commonplace for there to be mosquito net, plenty of them. Quality is dubious, lots of them had holes in them, but if you're staying in one place, get a decent box mosquito net that doesn't touch you when you sleep.
Yeah.
Just get a decent one.
Right.
Yeah, the problem with the ones that just drape over is that when you're at the edge of the bed, it drapes on you.
That's right.
So if you have one that drops down, it's a lot better.
I always recommend the box one because it's easier to... You can always find something to attach it to. Yeah, absolutely.
They weren't. The one we had, I'm not sure whether it was insecticide treated.
Right.
You dipped it before we left.
I mean the one that was there when
it was there. Right. Okay.
You get problems with overheating. When it's really hot.
Yeah.
In the hot season, but I would recommend freezing something if you had access to a freezer or fridge, and taking a cold water bottle into bed with you to help remedy that situation.
Okay.
To avoid removing the mosquito net.
Right.
Exposing.
So you feel like being under the mosquito net makes you hotter.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, that's interesting. Good tip, everyone. And then during your time, like in Malawi, what other activities did you get up to when you weren't working, for example?
So a large part of Malawi is covered by a lake, so it would be nice weekend activities. Or holiday activities to go up to the lake, and
of course we all know about one of the dangers in there. So you didn't go swimming, did you?
Well, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. Even if you avoid the swimming, you just decide to shower to cool off, you're at risk.
of, by the way, we're talking
of,
about schistosomiasis here, as many of you will be aware.
Yeah.
So
also known as bilharzia, it's freshwater disease, and it's sort of part of its life cycle involves a little tiny snail in shallow water, and the sort of the little immature worms can burrow into your skin, even though when you're taking a shower. But when when you're getting in and out of the water,
right? So you're doing
snorkeling, you're at risk.
So you were potentially exposed, and so you then took your praziquantel later.
Yeah, it's quite straightforward. You can just get some easily available praziquantel in chemists out there.
Right, so you got it out there. Yeah.
Just to remember, it only works against the mature worm. So you have to look it up. I can't quite remember now, but you have to take it several months.
I think it's 12 weeks.
Several weeks.
It's 12 weeks or something.
Yeah, anyway. After your last exposure.
Please check and let us know.
And it's it's dosed according to your weight.
Yeah.
So have a calculator on hand and work out what it is that you need to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think we'll just about wrap it up there. Were there anything from a travel health related issue that surprised you when you were there in terms of your own health? There's anything like, well, I mean, obviously maybe the roads and nights, that kind of thing. Anything else that kind of was like, oh, we didn't think about that, or do you think everything you'd done your homework and you were kind of prepared enough?
I think we were informed before we left about the obvious risks regarding vaccinations and malaria. Common things are common though, like diarrheal illnesses are quite common, so just be prepared for those. Take medication for that.
Be aware of your own poor food hygiene. The only time I was actually unwell with gastroenteritis was when I poisoned myself with old rice.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
that's
schoolboy
error. Yeah, absolutely.
But the rest of the time, your bowels were all right then.
Surprisingly well.
Right. Okay.
Healthier, I think, almost there compared to here.
Yeah, absolutely. Good sunshine.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much indeed and that's been really informative, and I'm sure everyone else has really enjoyed that. If you haven't seen the first part, go back and watch it, please. And thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.